This is Dante Williams, and you're watching
Dante's
Boxing Nation.
This is Showtime Sean Portman.
Filipino Flash, Jesse Burns.
This is Al Bernstein. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Hi, I'm Sugar Ray.
Chick Shape.
Virgil, the last name more.
Dante's Boxing Nation. Boom, 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 boom.
Yo, this is Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder.
My name is Gennady Golovkin.
And you're watching
Dante's Boxing Nation.
Hi, this is Julian Jackson, and this is Dante Boxing Nation.
This is Julia Jackson, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. All right. So you cleared up the misconception that, you know, how the fans, they always try to perceive it as, I don't know why they do it, but, you know, Ward, he's just trying to look for the easiest opponent. I mean, but does it make any sense that they would even think like that when you think of the fact that Ward, he jumped up to a higher weight class, he fought the #1 contender, and now he's going to fight Alexander Brand, and then after that, he's going to fight Sergey Kovalev. I mean, how many fighters are doing something like that all in 1 year? Not too many, right?
Well, I would have to agree with you if you look at his resume. I mean, even when he was injured before, he came out of the garage and fought the #1 contender, who was Edwin Rodriguez.
Yeah.
At 168, you know. When we came back and fought Paul Smith, we couldn't get anyone to fight. And that's what people don't know. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to step up to fight. I mean, everybody turned the fight down. I can go down the list. There's no sense in doing it, but that's the story. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
so,
now, Alexander Brand, I'm told he's a super middleweight. So, I mean, what do you guys think about that? Was that, I mean, I know a lot of people turned down the fight, but some people are under the impression that this won't help Ward to fight against a light heavyweight. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, thank goodness, you know, the people who make these types of statements and things like that, thank goodness that, you know, they're just on one end of it looking, you know, one side of it looking in, and they just experts on what you ought to do, you know, but the thing is, if you're not ready to fight Sergey Kovalev, now you'll never be ready to fight him. So it's no different. Well, I'll put Brand's resume up against some of the champions competition that they've been fighting. If you look at who Brand is for, you see. But again, it's a matter of finding somebody who wants to fight. And we looked for those guys and we petitioned those guys, and they didn't want to fight. You just can't make someone fight. Of course, I believe the styles are much different, but then Andre doesn't have a style himself, so it sort of makes it a little better. He doesn't have one particular way he fights. Mm-hmm. So that's what we have to do. But I don't think he has to apologize to anyone, particularly if you look at his competition in his career. And if you look at everybody else's, I mean, he fought for the title with 19 fights. You know, he fought Mikkel Kessler with 19 fights. He fought Miranda when he was Miranda with 16 or 17 fights, I believe. Now, if you look at some of the other guys' resume, find out who they fought. And from their 16th to their 19th fight, you won't even recognize the names. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he has to apologize at all. If you look at not only these guys, they became champions again after he fought them. Mm-hmm. So it's just the way it is. You have to accept it, and you just have to keep going. I don't believe any fight gets you ready for anybody. Either you have the ability at that moment or you don't.
Yeah. I mean, and we've seen Sergey Kovalev, he fought John Pascal twice. Now he's fighting Isaac Chilemba, compared to you guys fighting Barrera and now Alexander Brand. I don't see, you know, that much of a difference other than, you guys actually did fight an undefeated Cuban fighter. Outside of that, it's not a big difference, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, he was the number one contender. So
Yeah.
to come out of the garage and fight him, and, you know, of course, we're used to people slighting the opponent after we fight him. I mean, Jesus, Paul Smith had gave Abraham all he wanted. It was debatable had he lost that first fight. He lost the second one, but it was debatable if he lost the first one. And, you know, you couldn't get anything with that, and we hadn't even fought in over a year. So it's not going to work out in our favor at all in terms of fan popularity. We understand that, so we just keep going.
yeah. Has
We understand that.
now Brand, he does have a good record. I'm trying to remember. Has he ever been stopped?
That I don't know.
Okay.
You know, focusing in on him pretty soon. But he's there, and he's formidable. This is boxing. You know, if anybody wants to be an expert in boxing, they ridicule Fonterra.
You said what'd you say?
He was being ridiculed. Fonterra was being his choice of an opponent. You know, Fonterra, the gentleman, just got stopped in the first round.
By Joe Smith. Yeah, by Joe Smith.
Yeah, he was beat by Joe Smith. He was being ridiculed for taking that fight.
Yeah.
After fighting so-called top competition, now they felt like he was going down, and look what happened.
And look what happened. Yeah.
And if you listen to the fans, that's what can happen to you.
Yeah. I mean, but do you just feel sometime there's a certain fight out there for whatever reason, they just feel for whatever reason Andre Ward or Floyd Mayweather or whoever it is, they have to do 10 times more than what everyone else is doing. Instead of them competing with just other fighters, it's like they have to compete with themselves and just keep breaking their own record. I mean, do you feel that way sometimes?
Well, I mean, that's the way it is. So once you recognize and acknowledge that's the way it is, you have a decision to make. Are you going to let these particular voices dictate, or for what it is? All you have to do is look at the resume. And when you look at the resumes, no one can name me one fighter that Andre Ward has fought that's not a formidable fighter, a former champ, or been there. I mean, if you look at just from the Super 6 on, you're talking about Edison Miranda, Mikkel Kessler, next, Alan Green when he was Alan Green, Saki Obika when he was Saki Obika, Art Abraham when he was Abraham, Carl Froch. It goes on and on and on. So, really, it's you damn if you do, you damn if you don't. But of course, there are people who get passes, of course, but that's not his fault, and so he shouldn't have to be measured up against what somebody else is doing. Of course, I can stand here and rate certain fighters' competition all day long. You know, all day long I can rake it. You know, but what's the point?
Yeah.
It is the way it is. I mean, you can go all the way back to
Jack Johnson.
You know, Jack Johnson. You go all the way back to Ali. I mean, you know, like Ali used to say, you beat him, you ducking this guy. You beat him, you ducking that guy. You know. So it never stops the demands that are put on us. Of course, it doesn't stop. It's the way it is, and you know, we've never not wanted to fight the best. That's why we saw the fight with Gennady Golovkin, and that didn't come by. So when we had to go to light heavyweight, of course, we go to light heavyweight. Sergey Kovalev is the best light heavyweight in the world. So we want to fight him.
Yeah.
So that's our desire. If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best, and he's the best at light heavy. at this point. Well, he's considered the best. I have a lot of respect for Adonis Stevenson also. But at this time, I think, the masses would say that Kovalev is the one.
You just and something else I was gonna say, Virgil, is regardless of the double standards outside of the ring, the best thing is once you get in that ring, that's the truth machine. You can't take away the success once that fighter gets in the ring, right?
You can't do it. You can't do it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I tell Andre all the time. Maybe you won't be a superstar. You'll just beat superstars. So it's the way it is sometimes. That's the way the world works. And, again, I can sit here till I'm blue in the face and rake the competition of who some of the other guys who fought and who's being appointed into this position without ever really proving themselves. And, and then the excuses, well, don't nobody want to fight them. Well, we have the same dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
The people, they don't want to fight him, and he don't want to fight us. So what's the difference?
Yeah. No.
But we didn't say there's nobody out there we don't want to fight. So what's the difference?
Yeah. I don't recall people lining up to call out Andre Ward. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, it's just, boxing is that business. I felt that, Canelo got a pass.
Yeah. A lot of people feel he got a huge pass. He got a huge pass.
But, hold on just for a second, guys.
Uh-huh.
Hey, man. Okay. I'll be in there in a second. Hold on, Dynasty.
Uh-huh.
You adjusted that you needed. Yeah, I'm sorry. Now, what were you saying?
No, you just brought up Canelo getting the pass, and it's funny you bring that up.
I thought that, it's just the way boxing is, and when you look at it, you shouldn't worry about anything. Particularly as an African American fighter, you shouldn't worry about anything when you see it for what it is. But look, our fighters have a tough way to go because we don't get the support from our people like the other races do. But at the same time, I don't think that they're hyped and promoted like other people either.
Yeah.
So, either we have to play the buffoon to get attention and get ridiculed for that, or we can be dignified and be called boring, which I would prefer to be, as long as I'm dignified and I have the character, because it is life after boxing. We can live with that. And every single one of them has had to go through it. When you look at Archie Moore, what he had to go through to get a title shot, and Joe Louis even, what he had to go through, what he had to sell, what he had to give up to get a title shot. Muhammad Ali, being made an example out of because he disagreed with something. It goes on and on and on. Different laws were created for our fighters. Jack Johnson, you can't even take your wife across the state line. Or it just goes on and on and on, So we have to be aware of that, and either we're going to collectively come together and address it and do something about it, or this will continue as long as boxing exists.
Yeah, and on top of that, Virgil, it seems sometimes like it's not just our people that's not supporting, but you could also say our country doesn't support us, because when you look at the UK and you look at Anthony Joshua, David Haye, they're selling out arenas. The whole country supports them because they love the sport so much that they don't. It seems to me that they don't look at color. They're not as divided over there. So they're selling out arenas, and they love their fighters over there. But over here, it's the opposite in America. You know.
Right. Well, the UK and Mexico. You can honestly say have some of the best fans, boxing fans in the world, and that they do support them. And you're right, our fighters, unless we can get certain breaks and get in at the right time. You know, I even think about Ray Leonard. You know, he came in at the right time, but thank goodness he had Cosell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the Olympics at that time were on TV, on primetime TV, so the exposure was great. But even Leonard was despised.
Oh yeah.
At certain points, you know, in his career, you know, it's just hard for people to accept it. And then, of course, you know, we're supposed to have a different style of fighting, and you know, the urban style of fighting. We're not. You know, the toughest guys in the ring, you know, we run, and it's like, well, where are you going to run to? You're in a ring now. Where are you going to run?
From the blue corner to the red corner?
Ring generalship. Yeah.
I always ask that question.
Part of fighting is ring generalship. I mean, where is he going to run to? I mean, you do have to be taught to cut the ring also.
Yeah.
But to say you can't run, to say you can't move in the ring is to tell Serena you can't play the baseline.
Mm-hmm.
To say you can't move in the ring is to tell LeBron you can't go to the hole no more.
Yeah, it's certain.
Or to tell what's that little running back's name? The one that retired early.
I don't watch a whole
Played
lot
for
of football.
Detroit. Barry Sanders. To tell him you can't cut back cross field anymore.
Detroit line. Yeah.
It's not fair. So you don't stand there and fight.
Yeah.
See?
You need to put your hands down. Put your hands down and let them hit you, basically. But of course, that once again, the double standard comes in because it's only for the fighters that they want to lose. You know, them the ones that they want you to get hit. They don't want you to make it hard for the other fighter. And that's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
Because when they move around, it's beautiful. It's it's art and it's everything else. You know, it's poetic justice and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we know what time it is.
Yeah, well, you know what time it is. So it's up to us to persevere, and it's up to us to collectively come together and realize that we're all in that same dilemma if we make it near the top or a certain pay scale or visibility to the fans. It's up to us to realize what we're up against and take it upon ourselves to change that perception, not in the ring, but to understand that, there's a certain dignity that comes along with it. I was talking to a fighter the other day and was telling him that, as long as as I mentioned earlier, as long as you're playing the buffoon and everything, you have a lot of charisma. You have character. As long as you're doing dumb stuff, that's because we've been entertaining these masters for years. We've been doing this on TV in any profession unless we entertain. Mm-hmm. Never own it, but just be entertaining. Mm-hmm. And grand laugh, whatever it took to entertain.
Yep.
We coming up, we get it every day. The barbershop. We see it on the corner. We see that every day. So
You're breaking up. You're breaking up a little bit, Virgil. You're breaking up just a little bit.
Yeah, we see it every day in the community. The liquor store, at the bar shop. It's just a way of life for us. Mm-hmm. It's entertainment to other folks. So I understand it.
Yeah.
I understand.
Hi, you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.